Hello, my name is Daniel Capellian. I'm the International Commissioner, Art Director and Curator of the show Take Your Time, which is the main event of the 통영 Triennale 2022.
안녕하세요. 저는 다니엘 카펠리안과 이번 전시를 기획한 큐레이터 조혜영입니다. 전시에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
We start with Martin Bass and his Confetti Clock, which is part of the series Clocks he made recently. This is the last one of the series, so the artist is sweeping the confetti raining on the clock and giving us the time. Around the confetti clock you can find 4 screens with quotes about time, divided in two. Some quotes from the Western philosophy and some quotes from the Eastern philosophy, with different philosophers, thinkers, writers, artists and big minds. And it's exciting to see that they say all the same thing about time. Then to finish this room, we have a painting by Kyok, which expresses the very calm and quiet nature. This room is dedicated to the temporal explosion. So we have 3 different pieces. The first piece is a Chinese artist, Hao Mingpeng, with a very funny video telling us how Bill Viola, the artist Bill Viola, stretched times in his works. And then he's doing it in a very speed way, which is a very ironic piece and very funny piece.
我觉得还有很重要的一点的话，它的时间它不是均匀的，它一件作品的话，它的前面、后面、中间就是它的贯穿它整个作品的那种。
Then we have a photography by Oh Seung-won, and this photography expresses the way the human attention is vacuumed by the outside world. Then facing these 2 pieces, we have a piece of furniture by Vincent Dubourg, French artist coming from Carpenter's Workshop Gallery. And Commode Vortex is a piece exploding and it captures the exact moment of the explosion. In the stairs, from the bottom floor until the last floor, we have a video work installation, which I made with a venerable monk Yongak Sunim, and I recorded Yongak Sunim chanting a mantra in Regensburg in Germany, where he has his Zen center. In all the stairs, we ask the people to walk very slowly, like a meditative process, a meditative walk. The first piece of the second floor is called the Amp Movement. It's a video made by artist Jiang Ju from Oma Space. And it's about the farmer Li Chansing and the way the community around this farmer is making today hemp, growing hemp to make textile. So this is about the revival of the hemp culture in Korea. The next room, we have the young artist Eden Rose, who is still making a video about hemp. And she's filming the very deep inside of the hemp with a microscope. Then in the 2 other rooms we have landscape. In the first room we have landscape, miniature landscape from the painter Edouard Atenosi from the 19th century, with his miniature landscape from Provence, very similar to the landscape in Tongyong. In the next room we have Pleasant Place, made by Quaiola, Italian artist. And this is a fantastic way to compare miniature landscape and very large landscape with artificial intelligence and computer treatment. In this room, we have another timepiece made by Korean artist Jiang Ju from Oma Space. It's a textile piece, and it indicated time in a very precise way because it indicates eternity. The piece is called Infinity, and there is one spiral on the floor which symbolizes the universe, and another piece turning in a perpetual rotation which symbolizes the eternity. In this room we have 2 great Korean artists together, Lee Mok-sang and Kim Jong-koon. They are both working with very organic material. For Lee Mok-sang, it's mud, soil, and ink. And for Kim Jong-koo, is working with dust of steel. So time here is part of the process in the making of the artwork, because for example, Kim Jong-koo has to wait a long time to make his steel rust and then to grind the steel to get the dust to make his piece at the very end. Same thing for Lee Mok-sang, who spent a lot of time dealing with the mud, dealing with the soil, with the time for drying and to apply the ink and everything. Takuto Ota is a Japanese designer. He's giving life to inanimate objects called rubbish things who are made in wood, and it's a very interesting way to question the motion of this object without any kind of human interaction. He's also making another series called That, which is an invisible structure that can support any kind of textile or object. It's like a very interesting optical effect. In this room we present two pieces from Kangyo-be. The first one is his first video called Soundscape, and close to this video there is this masterpiece called Cloud Light, and it's a very interesting confrontation between two forms of expression, and we can really discover the deepness of this artist, one of the greatest artists today in Korea. We switch from these two pieces of landscape, painted landscape, to artificial landscape. This is a giant leap in the exhibition, and we face the work called Morphosis, which is a generative video of different landscape made by artificial intelligence, and the music is made by Max Cooper. The sixth floor is dedicated to the preservation of nature. So we have a bunch of different artists in the different rooms. And we start with the installation by Pierre Zandrovic and Ferdinand Dervieux, which is called What is Left of Reality. It's an interactive piece dealing with eco-anxiety and the disappearance of the biodiversity on Earth. So how people are going to face the collapse, the future collapse which is announced.
Okay. If we want to.
In this room we have An Ji-hee. She's a young Korean painter. We have a photographer Kim Tae-kyun, and we have Mother Pearl artist Kim Jong-ryung. And then we have three pieces from London-based artist Tobias Munt, who is dealing with a lot of indigo pigment instead of oil in his painting. So all these paintings are dedicated to the sea and the preservation of the sea, and we have a bigger room with different artists presenting some different expression of video art. We have first Memo Acten with Waves, which is one of the first generative waves that appear in the digital art in 2015. We have very lo-fi pieces made by Easy Song. We have generative work made by Todo Lubeck. We have a documentary about the coral life undersea made by the fantastic BioQuest studio in Australia. And then the central piece is a piece of ocean by Israeli artist Eyal Gever. So Eyal Gever made a 3D rendering of the sea in motion, and then it captures this motion, and out of it, in pretended 3D, the surface of the sea. Sixth floor is a very meditative space with one room dedicated to 4 different artists. The first one is the American artist J.C. Space. The second one is an Italian artist, Silvia Anselvini. She's using a ball pen and for making a series called Notturni. So every night she's drawing with a blue ball pen, and she's making this very incredible monochrome. Then we have the Korean artist Kim Kyok. She's doing a very interesting textile project and installation, and she's using also pieces of the styrofoam that the fishermen use in Tongyong. So this kind of net hanging are very interesting in terms of the question of the ecology of the fishing industry in Tongyong as well. Then we have the great Belgium artist Jean-Claude Wouters, who is making a kind of an invisible portrait. So there are monochromes, and you don't see any kind of motif in the monochrome, but if you really focus on the monochrome, then you can see a face appearing. So we have three very interesting pieces here, two faces and one Buddha. In this room we have one of the masterpieces of Félicie d'Etienne-Dorme, French artist, called Eclipse, which is the emblematic poster of the exhibition. Then facing Eclipse we have a piece by Kimchi and Chips, a duo from Seoul. And the piece is called Optical Rail. This is a kinetic art piece. And the third piece in this room is called Cascade. It's a 6 different screen with generative video made by Antoine Schmidt, a French artist. Then we have a drawing made with ink on Angie paper by the German artist Werner Sasse. We reached the last floor, so we are here shaping the future with installation Value of Values by Maurice Benayoun. People can here experiment a way to design with their mind using EEG, and they can shape a form on the screen just using their brain. And from this shape, they get an NFT, which means they own the shape that they just made, and they go on the blockchain. They can exchange this shape with other value, because each shape is related to a value, human value. And this idea to give shape to human abstraction is a very interesting thing, because you can print them. So you can print them in 2D, and you can also print them in 3D. Then we have a virtual reality experience by Eliza McNeat, American artist. She won a lot of prizes with this piece, and this piece is called Spheres. We have also in this floor a masterpiece by Justine Aymar, French artist, called Coexistence. It's a performance between a dancer and a robot in the University of Tokyo. And it's a very intriguing relationship between the human and the robot. And it's questioning a lot the future of our relationship we will have with the machine very soon. Then we finish with Félicie d'Etienne-Dorme and our Martian series, 3 different parts of the surface of the planet Mars, and who are connected with the real time on Mars, so you can see the sunrise and the sunset on Mars on the 3 different pieces. A few months ago I was called to organize this exhibition here, and I had one quote in mind from the French artist Robert Filliou, which said, art is what making life more interesting than art. So from this point, I decided to try to offer a different format of a show, which is more multisensorial experience and a more immersive experience. It's a global journey through different kind of artworks, installation, and with a wide range of discipline and expression. It goes from painting from the 19th century to craft, to fine art, to design, and then it goes to video art, and then it goes to neurodesign, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, NFTs, and all these new things. The show is undertitled Sourcing the Past, Meeting the Present, Shaping the Future. So here we are in a 6th-floor building that we call the spaceship, and we decided to have a chronological voyage from the bottom floor to the top floor through the past, the present, and the future. We are living now a very interesting time because we are all feeling the acceleration of time. There is a big disruption coming. And this exponential acceleration is a disruption with ourselves and disruption with the link we have with nature. So we have been living in a very difficult time for the last 2 years with the COVID. But more than COVID, we are facing now very difficult challenge like the climate change, the disappearance of biodiversity on Earth. And to face this challenge, we need to be really steady and to be ourselves, to be ready to face it in the best way possible. So this show, it's a call for contemplation, it's a call for recollection, it's called Take Your Time, as to take it easy, make a pause, put a hold, and take the time to observe what's going on inside you when you are facing artwork, and take the time to enjoy yourself and to be with yourself a little bit more. Because right now, mind of the people, the human attention is really vacuumed by the outside. We are in constant interaction with electronic device, with internet, and we are completely losing ourselves in our everyday life. And more than losing the connection with ourselves, we are also losing the connection with nature. So most of the piece of the exhibition are expression of nature, a lot of landscape. So landscape, painted landscape, artificial landscape, but landscape. And the triennale is called also the sea, the seeds. So for us it was a big challenge to first to honor the sea, because Tongyong is the land of the sea, and we have to protect the sea as a first element. And the seeds, because this is the first time that Tongyong has such a cultural event like this show, international event. And we wanted to be like gardeners to sow the seeds of art for the future generation in Tongyong. So I hope you will come visit the show and enjoy it very much.
들어오실 때보다 좀 더 다른 마음가짐을 가지셨는지요? 스스로를 변화시켜야 저희가 세상을 바꿀 수가 있습니다. 자연을 보호하고 무엇보다도 통영이 갖고 있는 이 바다의 땅, 이 아름다움을 어떻게 간직하실까요? 즐거운 시간이 되셨기를 바랍니다.